Hello friends, today we are with Neha Jain, who is one of the topper in civil services examination. She's got 12th rank and we're going to talk to her and know how was her preparations, how she gone through this success. So Neha, congratulations first of all for this success and coming to the questions first.
Thank you so much.
Civil services examination is called mother of all exams. What is your viewpoint on it?
Definitely this is believed to be the toughest exam. But I think more than the toughest exam, it is the most prestigious exam. I think CAT is tougher than this exam. I've never managed to take CAT.
Since Chronicle has been part of your journey, so you did your general studies from here. How do you find Chronicles?
Chronicle, I joined for my mains preparation. One thing I would want to say about Chronicle is that they completed their syllabus on time, which left me with a peace of mind that, at least the topics have been briefly touched upon so that I can go and do a detailed study myself. So I think that was the positive aspect of it. Besides that, there was guidance in essay preparation, which also helped me a lot.
Generally, it is believed that one need to get through more than one attempt to get through this examination. But in the few years, we have seen that people are doing wonders, and one-timers, first-timers are giving good shots. So what is your viewpoint on it?
Okay, so first of all, it was my first attempt. So I would want to say that, when it is your first attempt, you have the maximum enthusiasm to study because there are so many things you do not know. You feel like you are only a soul, you do not have a body which is covering you. And gradually the skeletal system, the muscles, everything develops. So the study is so beautiful when done the first time. So I think the first attempt is the best attempt to crack the exam.
Neha, when did you start thinking to sit for the civil services exam?
I remember once in childhood, I told my dad that, whether I should take this exam, and that time I only knew the name of this exam. And then my dad said, no, beta, you're too honest for this. And when I grew up, I realized that, no, this is the type of people we require. They require honest people.
When did you start your preparation for the examination, and when is the ideal time for an aspirant to start thinking to prepare?
I think I took this exam more as a mission. So while I was contemplating on what is the purpose of my life, a thought came to my mind that this might be one way in which I am able to realize my dreams. And that is when I took this the preparation for this exam. But I would also want to tell the aspirants, that although you have to give your all to this exam, you also have to balance it with a backup plan. So I took my prelims exam along with my job so that, once I know that I'll be able to do it, then I leave it altogether, leave my job altogether.
Neha, how helpful is one's background for his or her success?
I think background does matter to some extent, but if a person is determined, there is nothing which he or she cannot conquer. After all, it's a mind game. And more than your preparation, it's the motivation which carries you in this journey is what ultimately matters.
Neha, does this exam provide a level playing field for the rural background people and the middle urban cities people?
The urban people do have an advantage by access to the coachings and through the internet, but as India is progressing, we are seeing that the internet is reaching the rural households as well. So for those aspirants who are not able to take classes in big cities, they can obviously approach the internet and get updated with the latest happenings.
Which was the most difficult part of this exam, and how were you able to tackle with it?
The most difficult part of this exam is the long journey, the length, the duration of the exam, which covers more than an year. So you have a lot of roadblocks in between, which will help you derail. You have to keep on track. I think that is the most challenging part of this exam. Some bit of introspection and spirituality does help you to keep on track. Because every time you are just studying and you are trying to absorb so many things from so many fields, but you also need to think about your mission, You know, why are you actually taking this exam? What is the purpose? Is it the lal bati which is inspiring you, or is there a greater purpose? And I think if there is a greater purpose, then you will sail through this.
Did you integrate with your prelims and mains, or was it separate?
So the mains exam for my attempt, the syllabus came out only 2 months before the prelims. But the prelims and the mains syllabus, you know, they do cover a lot of common ground. So I do not think that there can be a segregated preparation for this exam.
Neha, what was your optional? According to you, what is the criteria for selecting an optional paper for mains?
My optional was sociology. I'm from an engineering background, and I thought that studying a humanities subject would add to my growth as a person, and that is why I chose sociology. And my suggestion would be to choose an optional based on one's own liking and not about the rumors on which subject fetches higher marks or not, because we see a lot of variation in the marks in a particular subject. You know, some year one subject does very well and other years it does not do well. So, you know, you just have to listen to your heart.
Tell us something about preparation for an essay paper.
So the essay paper requires command over the language in addition to the content which you produce. Some people might require a lot of practice because they do not write so well even though they may know their stuff. So I would recommend practicing a lot of essays and, you know, getting it evaluated from your peers or from your teachers. I think that would be a good strategy, and maybe a lot of reading of stuff other than what your exam demands.
Neha, what is the best way to prepare for current affairs? And what about the increased weightage in the GS paper on the mains?
I think the newspaper and also the AIR news that we all listen to, you know, that these are two most important sources of preparation for the current affairs. If you go through these two diligently, I think you should be sorted. Personally, I read only one paper, The Hindu, and an aspirant is free to read as many papers he or she likes to, but you know, you should have a grasp over the current affairs and not just have a cursory glance over it. You should know the details about it. Does not matter which paper you're reading it from.
During the interview, and tell us about your experience during that.
So the most significant part of my interview was that it was on the first day itself. So I did not carry any baggage, you know, that this is the type of questions they ask. The questions mostly revolved around my hobbies and my interest. Very few were asked from my professional career, which I have had in IBM for 4 years. So I think they test an overall personality of the candidate rather than looking at the specific answers which he or she provides at the time of the interview.
Neha, what is your advice to the freshers who are appearing for the exams?
My advice to the freshers would be that do not think this is a trial attempt. You know, I'll just like to quote one saying, you live only once. If you live it well, once is enough. Put it to your preparation. You prepare only once. Do it well, once is enough.
And now your advice to the aspirants who are struggling, who have failed this exam once. What is your point on that, and what are you going to advise them?
I think you should treat every attempt as your fresh attempt and do not get demoralized, because if one gets demoralized, you waste a lot of time thinking about, you know, the past. But we have to live in the present. So although you should learn from your past, what were your weaknesses, where is it specifically that you lack, I think the Chronicles diagnostic test will help in this regard.
Neha, kindly share your preparation strategy, which will surely help the freshers to prepare for their exams.
So my strategy was no strategy. I mean, basically, I did not study for 14 to 16 hours a day, because a good sleep is important. An overall dimension, an overall perspective about life in general is important. You know, your overall personality matters. And but at the same time, you cannot be frivolous about the preparation, because it is a serious exam and it demands your time and your efforts and your energy. And if you do it all, it's definitely worth it.
What must be followed for success? Is it a proper schedule or long-term strategy?
I think sleep is the most important because that is the time when everything you read is, really your brain processes it and puts it in the permanent memory. That's what my belief is, that you need to have your proper sleep. If you can exercise, go out and exercise. And if you study seriously for 8 to 10 hours a day, if you have your classes maybe lesser, maybe 5 to 6 hours a day, if you're doing it along with your job 3 to 4 hours a day and the weekends, depending on the situation you are in, and also how you're able to grasp it, also on your mental capacity.
Do you think that prelims examination, especially the paper GS2, is more for the convent and the professional students?
No, I do not think so, because the English questions which are compulsory are of a very, very basic level, and the aptitude questions are also pretty simple. So it tests more of your aptitude, your speed, rather than, your background for that matter.
As higher percentage of aspirants are coming from the convent or the professional background for the prelims, and more are being selected are crossing through the mains as well. So the percentage is going up for the finally selected students from the convent or the professional background. What is your take on it?
I have not done an analysis for the same, but if you are not from one of these backgrounds and you have a backlog that, I am not from this background, then that definitely pulls you back. I think it is just the confidence which one gets after being from these backgrounds rather than the content itself.
Neha, this year UPSC has introduced a new protocol by giving an inbuilt answer sheet in the question paper. Do you think it'll gonna help in time management?
Definitely, because you can answer your questions then and there. You do not have to shuffle. So earlier what a candidate would do is, he knows 6 and 9 and he does not know 8 in between. So what does he do? He puts it in the end, or how much space he leaves for it. That's so uncertain. Now you know that the moment you know your answer, you just go there and write. So I think it's pretty simple, and the space provided is adequate.
Neha, do you think a separate paper on ethics, integrity and aptitude at the mains level had made this exam more complete and comprehensive for testing the aptitude for the future bureaucrats?
If it is not a full wholesome solution, then it is definitely a good beginning, because we are seeing crisis of consciousness in this field. There are allegations of corruption, although that is what the public hears. I do not know the inside story as of now. So an ethics paper and whatever you study, I think somewhere deep down it will touch your heart, and if that is done, then the purpose is solved.
Neha, do you think that even continuing with one optional in the main stage is like walking half down the goalpost line?
Definitely, but then slow and steady wins the race. You cannot have, cannot just do it in one go, because then there'll be a lot of protest and everything. You need to give time to people to adjust according to it. But then definitely I believe that the optional should be removed for a more level playing field.
Do you think that this exam should be completely based on GS papers, including some writing skills?
Definitely, I would agree with that.
Neha, can you tell us about how our aspirants should prepare for the examinations as far as prelims, mains and interview is concerned? Can you draw an outline about it?
So for the prelims exams, I would like to ask all the aspirants to, really understand what you're reading, understand your concepts rather than just memorizing the stuff. Because gone are the days when this exam was about memorizing, but now it calls for more of a conceptual understanding. If you look at the previous year's questions of history for that matter, even the history questions are not based on rote learning. So, it is a very significant change which you see from the other exams. And CSAT is essential because that is a place where you can score a lot. I think you should not think that, this will happen, because you need to practice. If you think you can do it over here, there are other lakhs of people who can do better than you. So you have to give a lot of time to really practice your CSAT stuff, your CSAT questions. I think if you are diligent enough for your prelims preparation, then half of your mains preparation is sorted. For your mains preparation, the syllabus might look immense, it might look enormous, but then if you actually look at your syllabus, the syllabus is so beautiful that it actually requires you to develop as a person. And you know, one thing you should remember in life is that the greater the mission, the greater the personality required to achieve it. Think of it from a perspective of what all I did not know before this exam, and what type of person will I be after I know about it. So today you do not know about the American and the French Revolution and you know the American War of Independence, and you talk to someone from a country outside India and you are blank. But if you are prepared for this exam, rather than cribbing about why have they introduced the world history part, you can be so glad, you can be so full of gratitude that you know we have got an opportunity to read this stuff. So if you really approach your study from that perspective, really enjoy it, love it, and you know want to go back to your books rather than treating it as another burden, I think you will be sorted in life in general and not just this exam. And for your interview preparation, I think you get a lot of time after your mains, around 3 months minimum you get. So I think you should work upon your communication and also upon your overall personality. So they are not looking for people who are bookworms. They are looking for an overall personality, you know. They have a section where you have to fill in your hobbies. So you cannot fill in fake hobbies. You need to be genuine on them. So I think if you do that, it will be really helpful. I think that is the comprehensive outline of the prelims, mains and interview.
Neha, Chronicle IAS Academy has started with a diagnostic test at the time of enrollment. Do you think candidates should go for such a diagnostic test before competing for the civil services examinations?
So diagnostic test is basically a forced self-introspection which you will have, which candidates might miss, because most of the times what candidate look out for is, okay, what are the books that I have to study, and you know what are the coachings that I have to take, but they do not look into their own selves that you know what is it that I am good at. So I think the diagnostic test is a very good step in that regard.
Neha, what is your opinion about Civil Services Chronicle magazine, and which part benefited you the most?
The Civil Services Chronicle magazine has compendiums on several significant topics which you do not find normally in textbook, so which are updated. So I think it's a great platform to read those contents from there.
Your wishes for the upcoming aspirants for the civil services examinations?
I would want to wish you all the best in life, and you know whatever you do, you should do it with all your heart. And you know, civil services exam is just one step, and it is not the only step.
Thank you, Neha,
Thank
for
you so much.
sharing so valuable inputs. For that time which you gave us and shared your experiences in exams and your success. It will value to our readers who would like to tread your path for success. Wishing you all the best for life as serving bureaucrat. Well, that was for all.